What's up, everyone? I'm Sonya Marrone, joined by my lovely co-host, Jen Cameron. And welcome to our humble yet inspired video series where you're listening to a countdown to NRF Protect. Today, Chris McGourty is joining us from Norwood, Massachusetts to share how shopping behaviors change and advice on how law enforcement and retailers can better work together to keep their employees safe. Hey, Chris, welcome.
Hey, ladies, thanks for having me.
Anytime, anytime. How's my wonderful home state of Massachusetts doing?
Beautiful today. 70s, perfect weather. You can't ask for anything better.
You certainly cannot. Well, Chris, thank you so much for coming. And, to start things off, why don't you share with us a little bit about your background in the retail loss prevention space?
Uh, Sonia, as you know, I pretty much grew up in the retail industry. I have over 25 years in retail. I started as a store detective, worked my way up into management positions. I was a senior corporate investigator. I've been a district manager, a regional director, also a national task force investigator for TJX, where I have a lot of my organized retail crime experience. And for the past 10 years, I created the National Anti-Organized Retail Crime Association to combat and help retailers reduce theft, fraud, and cybercrime, and work with various retailers, providing them solutions on things to help reduce theft, fraud, and cybercrime. So that's pretty much my past 25 to 30 years in the retail sector. So that's kind of what I've been up to. Here I am. You know.
Absolutely. Well, we all know you as kind of the guru or kind of the master of, collecting a bunch of information and sharing it with your network. If you guys want to check out his LinkedIn profile and network, he shares a ton of information that's super, super critical and valuable, as well as his podcast. But what trends are you seeing? What should we be aware of? What's something that's kind of a hot topic to you?
The trends, that we're seeing in organized retail crime, and I think, this past few weeks or the past few months, where what we're seeing is the smash and grabs, I think, brought about a lot of attention throughout the country. We've seen a lot of that portrayed on social media, and people videotaping that, where they're smashing windows of luxury retailers and running off with a lot of merchandise. What we know is, as far as the industry is, the days of flea markets and people fencing merchandise are kind of over. We're seeing a lot of that activity shifted, as the pandemic happened, we saw a lot of activity shift to online spaces. And, these criminals that are stealing these goods are kind of hiding behind the computer, and they're selling these goods on storefronts, on the web. And there's legislation in place now that they're really trying to push to make it hard for people to sell goods, stolen goods online, which still has yet to pass Congress, but hopefully that will happen. And then states are stepping up. I have to say, we have seen the past few months they're creating a lot of organized retail crime task force. We've seen that in California. We've seen it in Chicago. I'm actually speaking this week in Connecticut at a conference, and I know they've just created a task force. So I'm looking forward to speaking at that conference on organized retail theft, statistic and trends that we're seeing. But smash and grab seems to be the one that really is highlighting. But beyond the smash and grabs, it also comes with violence attached to it, because these smash and grabs are happening also in broad daylight that we're seeing. We've seen it happen on Rodeo Drive at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They smashed a window of a jewelry case and ran off with millions of dollars worth of goods. So that violence and that brazenness that's happening in broad daylight really hasn't been the trend that we've seen in the past. So that kind of happening where it's happening in broad daylight is really gravitating to the retail industry to really prepare themselves, as well as law enforcement to be ready for these acts, because they can happen at any time now. It's not just at night where we've seen it in the past, where where the streets are empty, there's really no one around. It's happening when there's people around, which
Mhm.
increases public safety issues, customer safety issues, which is a real concern. So those are the really highlighted things that I think that the industry is really looking at right now.
I speak to retailers every single day, and you're absolutely right. It's a huge concern is how to keep their customers safe. So as we're seeing some of these smash and grabs and kind of all this violence, what are some things that retailers can do to better prepare themselves? Do you have any tips?
Yeah, and you guys did talk about my podcast. What we're trying to do is to kind of show some of the things on loss prevention, that there are solutions out there to some of these issues. Not all of them, but some of them are. And with the increased availability of technology and new technology, it's adding more and more some solutions that retailers could utilize and invest in that will help make the environment even more safe. One of those is solutions that I just highlighted on a podcast that we have is Defense Light. It's a company but called Impact Security. Jeff Franson, I know the CEO. They provide glass, protective retrofit glass that goes over storefronts to help protect storefronts from being broken into. It actually limits, it helps make it harder for bad guys to break the glass. You can't just break it with a brick or that, and that's the type of solutions that retailers are going to. And there's other ones too where we talked about. We've seen the increase of guns in society and the violence that we're seeing with
Mhm.
that. Even confronting shoplifters, what we're seeing is they're coming in armed, either with
Mhm.
hatchets or baseball bats or it's kind of a dangerous time to confront shoplifters, and solution providers like yourself interface security systems that does monitoring not only
Mhm.
for the storefront but also the outside parts of the store, the parking lot areas. Retailers want to keep their customers safe, they want to keep their employees safe, and these solutions like yourself can help can help add to that and provide that, I guess, extra layer of security and another set of eyes to the environment, and add that safety and that I guess that availability for retailers to kind of have that monitoring system in
Mhm.
place to provide that extra layer of security and safety for customers as well as their employees. But there's so much more. I think I said the gun detection. There's software that detects guns if people present a gun. It could that that could be utilized in retail. It could be utilized. We saw an armed situation happen, and the Tulsa one happened in an urgent care
Mhm.
facility.
Mhm.
So this technology can be utilized in other places, universities, schools. That horrific event that happened in Uvalde, Texas, with those children. We need to kind of rethink security. I think a lot, not only in retail environments, which we have been looking at, but other public spaces where security could be utilized, like monitoring systems like yourself. Those solutions can be applied to many different areas that could help keep everybody safe. And I hope people really take note of that and really look to invest in these solutions because it can really help.
Last question I have for you is, so we know these solutions are in place and we have this technology, but how can retailers leverage their relationships with law enforcement to better identify these crime rings and proactively share that information?
Yeah, I think every industry, not just retail, but I know retail has really stepped up to the plate and really created these public-private partnerships. We have organized retail crime associations that are throughout the country. Mine is a little different. Mine is kind of on the national, global sphere, I guess is the way to
Mhm.
put it. I work, you know, I, I have solutions that are from France and from other areas of the world. But there are organized retail crimes that monitor criminal activity in retail sectors throughout. We have a New England branch here that covers all of the 6 states in New England. where they monitor criminal activity of these organized retail groups. But what we're starting to see now, which is kind of fascinating, and it came out this year, actually this week, I'm sorry, is the financial sector is starting to step up too, and they're starting to track where the money's going and to see where these organized groups, where that funding is going to. You know, we've had cases where gift cards, you know, that money. The money that they obtain fraudulently and put it on gift cards is being sent overseas, or it's being sent to other people. So there's a lot of various financial crimes like money laundering and other criminal activity and other illicit crimes that are happening as a result of organized retail crime and retail crime itself. We have linked retail crime to terrorism. We have linked retail crime to human trafficking, sex trafficking. We have linked it to drug trafficking, gun trafficking. So it's a national security issue. I don't think it's just a, you know, everyone looks at retail and they think of shoplifting as, you know, someone stealing a candy bar or something like that. You know, those shoplifting, those aren't the people that we're talking about. We're talking about people that make a living out of this, that are either being hired or being, you know, pretty much brought on as an organized group to target retailers and do this as a full-time job and to make money from it and to profit from it. So, you know, if we could really, you know, work together, and it seems like we're heading in the right direction. People are getting involved, government agencies, you know, we're creating task force across the country. We're creating communication exchanges like Truth. There's a member of mine, they created the Florida Organized Retail Crime Exchange for AG Ashley Moody in Florida, which is helping Florida law enforcement communicate criminal activity and all these organized groups throughout the state of Florida. So there has been advancements. There has been a lot of things going on, and thank God for technology. Thank God for solutions. And hopefully, you know, as we, you know, as technology continues to advance and we have more and more technology, we can help, you know, make our communities a lot more safer, and we can root out a lot of this, you know, this, you know, unnecessary violence, and hopefully bring the temperature down in a lot of different environments that we're seeing a lot of hostile people approach or enter at times. So, you know, it's communication, it's awareness, it's education, and I'm a big proponent of that. I speak of that a lot, that the more we educate everybody and the more we train people on how to respond and how to act is the best approach. You know, it's the best way we can defend against ourselves, even defend ourselves against these types of acts.
No, Chris, I mean, thank you again for joining us. You are definitely quite the educator when it comes to this topic, and always the student wanting to learn more. So if anyone wants to hear more from Chris, check out his latest podcast on LP Solutions. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, thank you.
Great.
Thanks for the plug. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Anytime. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of retail and security. That's all for today's episode. See you next time on YBI with your hosts, Jen Cameron and Sonya Marrone. Thanks, guys. Bye.